ओम जय साईनाथ, जय साईनाथ। आदि न अंत तुम्हारा, तुम्हें श्रद्धा नमन हमारा।
ओम साई राम। हम साई श्रद्धा सबरी चैनल के माध्यम से आप सभी साई डिवोटियों को धन्यवाद करते हैं। हमारे देश को वर्तमान परिस्थिति ध्यान में रखते हुए होप आप सभी साई सच्चरित्र पाठ आप लोग पढ़ रहे हैं ताकि सॉल्यूशन पहले जैसे नॉर्मल हो जाए। सब्सक्राइब, शेयर, लाइक, कमेंट कीजिए ताकि हम लोग और ज़्यादा आगे बढ़ सके। ओम साई राम।
Om Sai Ram. Namaste. My name is Anamika Singh. I belong to Silchar, Assam, and today I am very glad to Sai Shraddha Saburi channel for providing me the opportunity to read this Sai Satcharitra in front of you all. Once again, I am very much thankful to the channel. And one more thing I want to say in front of you all, that please, and also to Baba, that Baba, please forgive me for any mistake if I do while reading. Today I am going to read chapter 23 of Sai Satcharitra. Yoga and the Onion. Sharma cured of snake bite. Baba breaks the cholera ordinance and the ordeal of Guru Bhakti. Preliminary. In reality, this jiva means the human soul transcends the three qualities, sattva, rajas and tamas. But being deluded by Maya, he forgot his nature, which is existence, knowledge, bliss, and think that he is the one who does things and thus entangles himself in endless mysteries and does not know the way of deliverance. The only way of deliverance is loving devotion towards the Guru's feet. The great player or actor, the Lord Sai, has blessed his bhaktas and transformed them into himself, means his nature. We regard Sai Baba as an incarnation of God for reasons already stated. But he always said that he was an obedient servant of God. Though an incarnation, he showed people the way to behave satisfactorily and carry out the duties of their respective stations in this life. He never emulated others in any way, nor asked others to have something done for him. For him who saw the Lord in all the movable and immovable things of this world, humility was most appropriate. He did not disregard it or disrespect anybody, for he saw Narayana in all Lord beings. In all beings, he never said, I am God, but that he was a humble servant and that he always remembered God and always said the word Allah Malik. Means God is the sole proprietor or owner. We don't know saint well enough, how they behave or what they do. We only know that by God's grace they manifest themselves in this world to liberate ignorant and brought souls like us. If there is a store of merit on our account, we get a desire to listen to stories and leelas of saints. Let us now turn to the main stories of this chapter. Yoga and the Onion. Once it so happened that the keen scholar of yoga came to Shirdi with Nana Saheb Chandorkar, and he had studied all the works on yoga, including the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, but had no practical experience. He could not concentrate his mind and attain samadhi for even so short time. He thought that if Sai Baba was pleased with him, he would show him the way to attain samadhi for a longer time. With this object in mind, he came to Shirdi and went to the masjid. There he saw that Sai Baba eating bread with onion. On seeing this, a thought arose in his mind, how can this man who eats stale bread with raw onion solve my issue and help me? Sai Baba read his mind immediately and said to Nana Sahib, Nana, only he would has the power to digest. Only who has the power to digest onion should eat it, and none else. Hearing this remark, the yogi was wonder-struck, and he fell at Baba's feet in complete surrender. With a pure and open mind, he explained his difficulties and had them solved by Baba. Thus being satisfied and happy, he left Sriji with Baba's buddhi and blessings. Shama cured of snake bite. Before Hemant Pant begins the story, he said that the jiva is very similar to a parrot, since they are both bound, one in the body and the other in a cage, but think that their present bound state is good for them. It is only when a helper, that their guru, comes and with God's grace open their eyes and liberates them for their bondage, that their eyes are open to a greater and a larger life. In the last chapter, we saw how Baba anticipated the calamities that was to befall Mr. Mirikar and rescued him from it. Now, let the reader hear an even grander story. Once, Shama was bitten by a poisonous snake. His little finger was stuck and the poison began to spread into his body. The pain was severe and Sharma thought that he would die soon. His friend wanted to take him to the god Vithoba, where such cases were often sent, but Sharma ran to the masjid, to his Vithoba, means to Sai Baba. When Baba saw him, he began to yell at him. He got enraged and said, "Oh vile Vatudya," means the priest, "don't climb up. Beware. If you do so, then wrote, go, get away, come down." Seeing Baba thus rat with words, Sharma was greatly puzzled and disappointed. He thought that the masjid was his home and that Sai Baba, his soul, refused. But if he was driven away like this, where should he go? Sharma was thinking that where should he go if Baba will just refuse him to go into the masjid. He lost all the hope of life and sat there dejected. After a while, Baba became normal and calm and Sharma went up and sat near him. Then Baba said to him, "Don't be afraid. The merciful fakir will save you. Go and sit quietly at home. Don't go out and believe in me. Remain fearless and have no anxiety." Then he was sent home. Soon after this, Baba sent Satya Patil and Kaka Sahib Dikshit to Sharma with instructions to the effect that he should eat and drink what he liked, should move freely inside his home, but should not lie down and sleep. Needless to say, these instructions were acted upon Sharma and Sharma soon recovered. The only thing to be remembered in this case are the words of Baba used. The word go, get away, come down were not addressed to Sharma as it appeared then, but were the direct order to the snake and its poison to not to go up and circulate through the Sharma's body. Like others were well versed in Mantra Shastra, Baba did not have to use any incantations, charged rice or water. His words by themselves were most efficacious in saving Sharma's life. Anyone who hears this story and the other similar ones will develop firm faith in Sai Baba's fate, and the only way to cross the ocean of Maya is to always remember the Baba's holy fate. The next was the cholera epidemic. Once cholera was raging virulently in Sridi. The residents were very frightened and they stopped all the communication with the outside world. The elders of the villagers assembled and decided upon two ordinances as a remedy to stop this epidemic. The ordinances were that no fuel cart should be allowed to come into the village, and that no goat should be killed there. If anybody disobeyed this ordinance, they will be fined by the village elders. Baba knew that all this was mere superstition and therefore did not care at all for the cholera ordinance. While the ordinance were in force, a fuel cart came there and wanted to enter the village. Everyone knew that there was a shortage of fuel in the village, yet people began to drive the fuel cart away. But Baba came to know this. He came to the spot and asked the cart driver to take the fuel cart to the masjid. No one dared to raise his voice against Baba. He wanted fuel for his dhuni, and so he purchased it. Like a Brahmin keeping his scared fire alive throughout his life, Baba kept his dhuni burning all day and night, and for this he always stocked fuel. Baba's home, the masjid, was free and open to everyone. It has no lock and key, and poor people took some firewood from there, and for their use Baba did not grumble about this. Baba knew that the whole universe was pervaded by the Almighty, and so he never bore enmity or ill will towards anybody. Though perfectly detached, he behaved like an ordinary householder to set an example for his people. The ordeal of Guru Bhakti. Let us now see how the second cholera audience fared with Baba. While it was in force, somebody brought a goat to the masjid, and it was weak, old and about to die. All this time, Fakir Pir Muhammad of Maligaon and alias Bade Baba was there. Sai Baba asked him to be had it with one stroke and offer it as an oblation. Bade Baba was respected by Sai Baba. He always sat right next to the Sai Baba. After the chilam was first smoked by Sai Baba, it was then offered to Bade Baba and then the others. After this dish was served at noon, Sai Baba respectfully called Bade Baba and made him sit on his left side, and then everyone partook of the food. Baba paid him 50 rupees every day out of the amount collected as dakshina. Baba accompanied him 100 paces wherever he was living. Such was his position with Baba. But when Sai Baba asked him to behead the goat, he flatly refused, saying, "Why should it be killed for nothing?" Then Baba asked Sharma to kill it. He went to Radhakrishna Mai and brought a knife from her and placed it before Baba. When she discovered the purpose for which the knife was taken, she recalled it. Then Sharma went to get another knife, but remained in a wada and didn't return for a while. Then came Kaka Saheb Dikshit's turn. He was undoubtedly as good as gold, but had to be tested. Baba asked him to get a knife and kill the goat. He went to Sateswada and returned with a knife. He was ready to kill it at Baba's biddings. He was born in a pure Brahmin family and had never in his Brahmin family and had never in his life killed anything. Though quite averse to performing any act of violence, he made himself bold enough to kill the goat. Everyone looked on in the astonishment to see that Bade Baba, being a Muslim, was unwilling to kill it, while this pure Brahmin was making preparations to do so. He tightened his dhoti and with a semicircular motion, raising the knife and looked at Baba for a final signal. Baba said, "What are you waiting for? Go on, strike." Then, as the hand was just about to come down, Baba said, "Stop. How cruel you are. Being a Brahmin, you are going to kill a goat." Kaka Sahib obeyed and put the knife down and said to Baba, "Your nectar-like word is law unto us, for we do not know any other audience. We remember you always, meditate on your form, and obey you day and night. We do not know and consider whether it is right or wrong to kill, and we do not want to reason or discuss things. We implicitly and promptly comply with our Guru's orders. It is our duty and dharma." Then Baba said to Kaka Sahib that he would himself do the offering and killing business. It was settled that goat would not be disposed of near a place called Tatya, where fakirs used to sit. When the goat was being taken to that place, it died on the way. Hemant Pant closes the chapter with the classification of the disciples, and he says that there are three kinds: the best, the mediocres, and the ordinary. The best kind of disciples are those who guess what their guru wants and immediately carry it out and serve them without waiting for an order for them. The mediocre disciples are those who carry out the orders of their guru to the letter without any delay. And the third kind of disciples are those who keeping postponing carrying out their orders and make mistakes at every step. Disciples should have firm faith backed by intelligence, and if they add patience to these, their spiritual goal will not be distant. Control of breath and other difficulties practices are not at all necessary. When the disciple gets the above mentioned qualities, then become ready for further instructions, and the master then appear and lead them on in their spiritual path to the perfection. In the next chapter, we will deal with Baba's interest with a human. Bhav to Sri Sai, peace to be all. Om Sai Ram.